Hello investors, if you search best broker in UAE, you will get 100 different answers. One person says interactive broker is the best, another says Sarwa is easier, then somebody says just use Wio, and somewhere in the comments someone is aggressively recommending a broker you have never heard of, like they own the company, and this creates a huge problem. And here is the thing nobody tells you, they are all right and they are all wrong. Because most people in the UAE are not asking the correct question. The real question is not what is the best broker. The real question is which broker is right for me. Because the broker that works for a trader may be terrible for long-term investor. The broker that works for millionaire may make zero sense for someone investing 1000 dirhams every month, right? And this is something I have been noticing again and again while helping UAE investors build portfolios. People open wrong account first and only later realize, oh, I can't buy what I actually wanted. Or why are the fees so high? Or worse, I thought I owned the stock, but this is actually CFD trading. And then switching becomes painful. So in this video, I'm going to simplify entire UAE brokerage landscape for you. No hype, no affiliate pushing, no this broker is number one. Instead, by the end of this video, you will know exactly which broker fits your investing style, which one works for UAE stocks, which one works for US ETFs, which one is good for beginners, and which ones quietly charge you money without you noticing. And most importantly, you will stop choosing broker based on ads. You will choose based on your goals. So let's navigate the UAE brokerage landscape properly. Before we begin, I want to make one thing very clear. This video is designed mainly for long-term investors, people trying to build wealth slowly, not people trying to trade every 5 minutes because a candle turned red. If your happiness depends on RSI indicator, WhatsApp signal, and buy now, sell now Telegram group, this video may emotionally disturb you. Because here we are focusing on portfolio building, long-term investing, diversification, ownership, and wealth creation as a UAE resident. That's the lens through which we are comparing these all brokers, because once you stop treating investing like entertainment, you start asking smarter questions. Questions like, who holds my asset? What fees am I actually paying? Can I transfer my shares? Am I buying real stocks? And is this broker actually built for UAE resident? And that brings us to the first big clarity most investors never get. In the UAE, you can broadly divide all brokers into 4 categories. I call them the 4 families. And once you understand these 4, the entire market suddenly makes sense. Family 1, traditional bank brokers. Example, ADIB Securities, Emirates NBD Securities, FAB Securities, Mushtaq Securities. These are your bank-linked broker. Strong UAE presence, physical branches, instant AED transfers if you already bank with them. And many investors, this creates psychological comfort because people feel if my bank is offering this, it must be safe. And honestly, for many families and older investors, that comfort matters, especially for Sharia compliant investing environment. But there is a trade-off: more paperwork, older interface, higher friction, and sometimes higher fees. It's like buying a popcorn at cinema, technically optional, emotionally mandatory. Family 2, local institutional broker. Example, International Securities, BHM Capital, Alramz, EFG Hermes. Now these are interesting because many UAE investors completely ignore them. But these companies are deeply connected to UAE market, especially ADX and DFM. And unlike bank brokers, you usually don't need to open another bank account. You can use your existing UAE bank account. That alone removes a lot of unnecessary friction. And this category becomes very important if your main focus is UAE stocks. Because there is one broker here that quietly destroys everyone on ADX pricing. We will come back to that. Family 3, UAE digital startups. Example, Wio Bank, Sarwa, Amana. These are mobile-first platform, fast onboarding, simple interface, lower barrier, less paperwork. And honestly, this category probably understand young UAE expats the best, especially salaried professional, first-time investor, and monthly investor. The experience feels smoother, cleaner, more intuitive, which is great until you forget to check what exactly you are buying. Because easy to use, good for your goals are not always the same thing. Family 4, global giants. Example, interactive brokers, Saxo Bank, Etoro, Plus 500, and many more. These are international heavyweights, massive market access, advanced tools, global investing, options, forex, commodities, 170 plus markets in some cases. But they also come with offshore structure, more complexity, and sometimes less UAE specific integration. These are powerful platforms, but powerful tools are dangerous in wrong hands. A Formula One car is amazing, doesn't mean you should learn driving in it. So now you understand the 4 families, but this brings us to the next big question. And honestly, this is where most investors get nervous. What happens to my money if brokers shut down? Good question. Let's talk about custody and regulations. Now, this section sounds boring until one day you actually need to understand it. Then suddenly it becomes very exciting. Like insurance, nobody cares until they need it. Whenever you invest through a broker, there are 2 important questions. 1. Who regulates the broker? 2. Where are your shares actually held? And these are not the same. Let me make this real with example. Imagine Ahmed moves to Dubai, starts investing, downloads an app in 15 minutes, buy US stocks. Everything feels smooth. Then one day he asks, wait, where are my actual assets actually sitting? That's the question most people ask too late. Now, broadly in UAE, you will see 3 structures. UAE onshore brokers. This include bank brokers, international securities, BHN, Capital, Alramz, EFG Hermes. These are regulated inside UAE. And for UAE stocks, your ownership is linked directly to UAE exchange infrastructure through money, your national investment, meaning your shares are recognized within UAE market system itself. Why does that matter? Because now you can receive dividends directly, transfer shares, and beneficially create inheritance-friendly structure and move holdings between brokers more easily. Then UAE free zone platforms like Sarwa and Amana operate through ADGM or the AFC framework. Still UAE regulated, still legit, just organized differently. They use something called omnibus custody, meaning your assets are pooled together and protected through large international custodian under UAE free zone regulation. For most retail investors, this is completely fine. Just understand the structure you are using. Then you have interactive brokers, Saxo Bank, other international platforms. Here, your assets are usually held offshore. Interactive brokers, for example, offers SIPC insurance protection for eligible US securities up to $500,000. Strong protection but different jurisdiction, different legal system. Not worse, not better, just different. And honestly, this is the point where most investors realize something important. Broker is not just a nice looking app, it's a legal structure sitting behind your money. And once you understand that, you naturally start asking the next question. Am I buying the real asset? Which brings us to CFDs. Now, this is one of the biggest misunderstandings in UAE investing because many investors think I bought Tesla stock, but sometimes they did not actually buy Tesla shares. They bought a CFD, a contract for difference. Here is the simplest explanation possible. A CFD is basically a contract that tracks the price of a stock without you owning actual share underneath. If the price goes up, you profit. If it goes down, you lose. But technically, you never own underlying asset itself. Now, to be fair, CFDs are not evil. They are useful for short-term trading, leverage, hedging, and speculation. But the problem starts when long-term investors accidentally use trading tools for wealth building. Those are 2 completely different games. Let me show you how this usually happens. Someone opens an app because zero commission. Easy sign up, crypto label, they buy US stocks, hold it for long. Only later they realize some positions were CFD, spreads were wider, overnight fees exist, and the platform was built more for trading. That's why ownership matters, because if your goal is retirement, dividend income, long term compounding, or family wealth, then physical ownership matters more. Platforms like Interactive Broker, Wio, Sarwa, Saxo Bank, and UAE local broker are generally stronger fit for that style. Meanwhile, platforms like Etoro, Plus 500, and some amana structure lean more heavily into trading and CFD style execution, especially for leverage trades. And here's the important part, a platform can be excellent for trading and still not be ideal for long term investing. Those are separate use cases. Like ordering food online, the burger was 28 dirham, but somehow the final bill becomes 63. Convenience has layer and the broker pricing does too. Which brings us perfectly into next section, the hidden cost nobody talks about. Most brokers advertise one thing, zero commission, and technically many are telling the truth, but also leaving out half the stuff. Think of fees like an iceberg. Above the water, the advertised commission. Below the water, everything else. And that hidden part is where real damage happens. Hidden cost number one, inactivity fees. Some brokers charge you for doing nothing, which honestly feel very personal. ADIB charges 150 per quarter in certain situation. Etoro charges $10 monthly after long inactivity fee. So imagine this, you finally become disciplined, you stop checking portfolio every day. App says congratulations, that will be $10. Hidden costs too, withdrawal fees. Some platforms make deposits easy, but withdrawals pain. That's intentional. eToro charges withdrawal related fees, conversion costs in certain cases. Small amount individually, but over years, small leaks become real money. Hidden cost number three, custody fees. Some brokers charge annual holding fees. Saxo Bank charge 0.15% annually for classic tier accounts. PHM Capital charge custody related for international markets, and over decades, small percentage compound. Investment compound, fees compound. The frictionless outliers. Now the bright spots. Sarwa allows free AED local transfer. Wio, if you already bank with them, creates a seamless banking plus investing experience. And honestly, for many beginners, this matters more than advanced trading tools because simplicity increases consistency and consistency builds wealth. Now let's get practical. Let's talk about actual trading fees. Here is something most people don't know. ADX and DFM fee structure are largely standardized. Every broker pays market fees, SCA fees, and depository fees. What changes is actually usually the broker's own commission. For DFM stocks, the total standard fee is around 0.275%. That includes broker fees, market fees, SCA fees, and depository charges, plus a flat $10 order fees, meaning whether you invest 500 dirhams or 500,000 dirhams, 10 dirhams still applies. For ADX, is slightly cheaper. Standard fee structure comes around 0.15%, but there is one disruptor, international securities. They offer an ADX execution rate of 0.05%. That is significantly lower. Let me show you why that matters. If you invest 1000 dirhams into ADX stock, in international securities, 0.50 dirham is the fees. In standard broker, 1.50 dirham. Small difference, yes, but investing is a game of repeated efficiency. Over years, those savings compound. Now let's move to US markets because this is where fee confusion becomes even bigger. When UAE investors start buying US stocks, they usually compare only one thing. Is the commission free? Wrong question. The smarter question is, what is the total execution cost? Because sometimes the free broker quietly becomes the expensive broker. Let's check Interactive Broker. Interactive Broker charges roughly $0.005 per share with around $1 minimum per day. Meaning for most ETF investors, you are usually paying $1 or $2 per transaction. Extremely competitive price. But let's be honest, the interface sometimes feels like it was designed by engineers for other engineers. Amazing platform, but best for investors comfortable with complexity. Wio Invest. Wio charges around 0.20% with a minimum fee of $0.50 and a maximum around $4.95, meaning small investors stay efficient, larger trades don't become excessively expensive. And because banking and investing sits inside one ecosystem, the experience feels seamless. Salary comes in, cash available, investment done. For many UAE professionals, this is sweet spot. Sarwa. Sarwa charges 0.25% or a minimum of $1 per trade. So on $1,000 investment, you are paying roughly $2.50. Simple, clean, beginner friendly, especially for passive investors who just want to invest consistently every month. Etoro and free platforms. Etoro advertise zero commission, but remember platforms can still earn through spreads, currency conversion, CFD execution structure, and withdrawal fees, which is why simple pricing usually beats clever pricing every single time. All right, now let's simplify everything into one practical framework, not best broker, right broker. I'm going to give you 5 investor profiles. Find yourself in one of these. Profile 1. I want to invest in UAE stocks, ADX and DFM, and build up local portfolio. Start with international securities. Lowest ADX commission rate, can use existing bank, clean AD transfer. Real ownership sitting in CSD with your name on it. And here's the bonus no one talks about. By having NIN linked account with a local broker, you can transfer share directly between beneficiaries, generate official portfolio report, create inheritance friendly structure. Apps like Amana, Etoro simply can't offer this. Profile 2. I want UAE stocks and US stocks, and I want everything in one place. Wio Invest. If you can maintain the balance that qualifies for the premium plan tier, UAE central bank approved, direct UAE market access with competitive US pricing, instant settlement, zero friction AE transfer, one app, one ecosystem. Profile 3. I only want US stocks and ETFs. I am a passive investor. I don't want to think about this daily. Sarwa, no question asked. Zero local transfer fees, physical asset ownership, automated portfolio option, DIY trading, 3% interest on idle cash, ADGM regulated, clean, simple, designed for exactly this type of investor. Profile 4. I want serious global investing options, multiple currencies, emerging markets, sophisticated tools. Interactive brokers, the professional choice. Accept the complexity of the platform in exchange of lowest fees, widest market access, and SITC protection. This is the right tool for the investor who wants to graduate from passive to active global investing. Profile 5. I want copy trading and crypto. eToro is designed for you. Just go in with eyes open about the CFD structure and the fees. And honestly, most UA investors don't need 170 markets. They need consistency, a good saving rate, and a system that will actually stick with them. I have spoken to many UA investors over the year, and the same mistakes appear again and again. Let me save you from 5 of them. Mistake 1. Opening a broker account before deciding your investment strategy. People choose the app first, then decide tools later. That's backwards. Mistake 2. Choosing based on advertising. Zero commission sounds amazing until you read the asterisk. Do the math for your investing style, not marketing help. Mistake 3. Ignoring custody and regulation. Where are your shares actually held? Who regulates the broker? What happens if something goes wrong? These questions matters more than people realize. Mistake 4. Overtrading because app feels gamified. Some platforms are designed like social media, bright colors, notification, confetti animations. That's deliberate. Every trade creates revenue for them. Long-term investing usually means doing less, not more. Mistake 5. Using expensive structures for small monthly investing. If you invest every month, high friction fees quietly destroy efficiency over time. Small costs repeated for 20 years becomes serious money. So, which broker is best in UAE? Wrong question. The better question is which broker fits my goal? Because investing is personal, your broker should match your strategy, your portfolio size, experience level, asset you actually want to buy. And honestly, for most UAE investors, the answer is simpler than they think. Start simple, start consistent. Understand what you own, then expand globally later, not the other way around. And once you are comfortable across both the markets, here are two platforms worth knowing about for further diversification. For physical gold investing, look at O Gold. It's backed by physical gold and has a leasing option that can generate 2 to 3% above standard gold price appreciation. For real estate exposure without large capital, smart card allow fractional real estate investing on as little as 1000 to 2000 dirhams. It behaves like real estate, meaning it rewards patience of 3 to 5 years or more, but it brings property investing within reach without needing to buy entire unit. These aren't broker alternatives. They are complementary layers for a diversified wealth picture. All right, that's everything. The four families of UAE brokers, the custody framework, the physical stock versus CFD distinction, the real fee math on UAE and US markets, the capability matrix, 5 investor profile, and the 5 mistakes to avoid. By now, you should have a clear answer to the question we started with. Which broker is right for you? If you have built a portfolio already and you are wondering whether your current broker is right for your next step, or if you want a hand building out an investment strategy, drop a comment below or reach out. We help investors in the UAE do exactly that. If this video gave you clarity, share it with one person who needs it. There are a lot of investors in the UAE sitting on cash because they couldn't get past this question. Help them get started. Happy investing. Ma salama.